A long, long time ago, I don't know where it was, and you don't know where it was. In those old days, where the sky touched the earth, and even the swallows had to kneel down, drinking from the cold water of the meadows, there was a kingdom. And in this kingdom there reigned a king. He was old, and he had a daughter, whom he loved more than his own life. But there was something with this king. One of his eyes was always weeping, and the other one was always smiling. Now, his daughter was growing, and each and every day she was becoming more and more beautiful. Do you know how beautiful she was? She was so beautiful that the sun stopped every noon in the sky for 2 hours to take pleasure in watching her. Now, one day, his daughter stood in front of him and asked, "My dear father, I've been thinking and wondering about this for so long. Why is it that one of your eyes is always weeping and the other one is always smiling?" "This is a big secret, my daughter. I've never ever told it to anyone. And you cannot know it either." "How can you say that, dear father? Of course I can know it. After all, I am your daughter. I am your dearest one." And she started pleading and nagging him, as daughters do. And of course, after a short while, the king sighed and turned to her. "All right, my dear. Listen. When I was young, I had a bird, a pelican bird. And whenever I heard her sing, I never grew old. I forgot all my troubles. But one day, that pelican bird vanished, and I could never ever find her again. I traveled almost the whole world. I asked people, but no one has even heard of the bird. This is why one of my eyes is always weeping, and the other one is always smiling, because I have traveled many lands, but I have never found a fairer maiden than you. If this is so, my dear father, I will not marry. I will not marry until someone brings back that bird to you." "Oh, how can you say that, dear daughter? You will remain an old maid." "I don't mind. I said what I said. I will only marry if someone brings that bird back to you." Now you can imagine, the king's heart was full of sorrow now. But what could he do? He proclaimed that whoever can bring back that bird to him can ask for his daughter's hand. And there were princes, earls, all kinds of poor, young, strong lads coming and flooding from all over the place. They were queuing at the palace gate. In those days, you didn't have to keep the 1.5 meter distance. And of course, they all wanted to try their luck. But no matter how far they went, no matter how much they tried, none of them could bring back the bird. And now the king's heart was really, really full of sorrow. But in the king's court, there was a young servant lad. He was handsome and strong, and one day he thought to himself, "Well, I will go myself and try to find that bird for my king, for I cannot for all the world see his sorrow." And this is what he did. He took a bag, put a piece of bread in it, and some onions, and then he set off. And he walked and he walked and he walked until he reached a deep, dark, thick forest. And as he was walking in the forest, suddenly he caught sight of an old man. His hair was white. His beard was white and was so long that it went around his waist 3 times so that it doesn't sweep the ground. And the old man looked up and talked. "Good day and God bless you, dear lad. Give me a piece of bread, for I haven't eaten for 3 days." "Oh, dear grandpa, I will give you happily some bread, but look, I have some onions too. Why don't we eat together?" So they settled down next to a tree trunk, and they started eating the bread and the onions. And then the old man spoke again. "My dear lad, I know why you have come here. You are searching for the pelican bird." Now the boy stopped eating. He was all ears. "Do you know how many princes and earls have passed through this forest before you? And I asked each of them for a piece of bread, and none of them gave me any. They were mocking me. Some of them even spat on me, kicked at me. But they all went back with empty hands. But you were good to me, and one good deed deserves another. I will help you. You know, that pelican bird is on the other shore of the endless sea, and you can never get there on foot. You will need a colt, a young horse, but not an ordinary one. Listen up. You will need a colt that was suckled on dragon's milk." "Oh, dear grandpa, you are surely teasing me. Where on earth could I get such a colt?" "Just listen to me, do as I say, and you will succeed. At the other corner of this forest, there is a hut. In that hut there lives a witch. She has a coat like that. Go and ask for it from her, with nice words." So the boy said goodbye, thanked the old man. He set off and walked until he found the hut, and he knocked on the door. And the door opened. Oh, and there was a very old woman standing there. She was so crooked that her nose almost touched her knee. "Good day and God bless you, dear grandma." "Oh, you are lucky you called me like that. Otherwise, you would be dead now." "My dear grandma, I'm in trouble. I'm in need of a colt that was suckled on dragon's milk." "Oh, who are you? Have you done a deal with the devil?" "No, not at all. I need that colt to bring back the pelican bird for my king, for his heart is in great sorrow. And you know, that bird could make you young too." The old woman liked this speaking, and she said, all right, I have a coat like that. It's in the garden, tied to the apple tree. But beware, if you have done a deal with the devil, I will turn you into a toad." The boy thanked her, went to the apple tree, untied the colt, and he was watching the colt, stroking it, and he saw that his coat and his mane was all gold. "Jump on my back, dear master. Where shall I bring you?" And he jumped on the colt's back and said, "Bring me to the other shore of the endless sea." "And how shall we go, my dear master?" "Shall we go as swiftly as the wind, or as quickly as thought itself?" "Let's go as quickly, that neither me nor you get hurt." And so they went up high into the air, and they galloped, and they flied, and they were flying for 7 days and 7 nights and 7 blinks of an eye, until they landed on the other shore of the endless sea. And then the colt spoke again. "I shall leave you here now, dear master. Whoever you meet, ask them about the pelican bird. And wait, take this whistle. And if you are in trouble, just blow it, and I will be there immediately." So the lad thanked him, and he started walking. And as he was walking, the first one he met was an ancient old woman. She was walking with 2 sticks. "Good day, and God bless you, dear grandma. I need your help. Have you heard of the pelican bird, the singing pelican bird? Do you know where I can find her?" "Oh, I know, my child. Can you see that round forest up there? In the middle of that forest there is a tree so high that its branches are scratching the sky. Well, that poor bird is stuck in between 2 branches up there. Oh, the poor thing had been struggling there for years." "Thank you, dear grandma." The boy said goodbye, and as quickly as he could, he started walking towards that forest. And then, when he was there, he started looking for that tree. "Which one can that be? Where can I find the bird?" And he was walking and searching until he caught sight of the pelican bird. Indeed, she was floundering there in between 2 branches. But then he looked at the tree trunk. "Oh, I can never ever climb up this tree." But then he thought about his whistle. He blew it immediately, and the colt was there. "Did you call me, dear master?" "Yes, I did. Can you see the bird is up there, but I can never climb up this tree." "Jump on my back, dear master, and we will fly up there. With one hand, take 1 branch, and with the other, grasp the bird quickly and put her under your shirt. And then we will go back home." And this is exactly how they did. They went up there. The boy took 1 branch with one of his hands, and with the other he grasped the bird and put her under his shirt. And then they flew up to the sky and were flying over the endless ocean for 7 days and 7 nights and 7 blinks of an eye, until they reached the forest, and they were approaching the hut, the witch's hut. But the witch was already waiting there. She put her hand over her eyes, and she was listening to the bird, because, you know, as soon as the bird got warm and relaxed, she started singing. And whoever heard her song forgot all their troubles and became young again, and they made 2 circles in the air before they landed at the witch. But there was no old witch anymore standing there. No, there was a beautiful young woman in a beautiful red skirt, rejoicing and dancing. Well, the boy thanked her, the colt, and then he went on with the bird under his shirt. And he walked until he reached the king's town. And there he started whispering, "Sing, my bird, sing, my dear pelican bird, for we are back home." And the bird started singing beautifully. And the people were flooding out of their homes, out to the streets, and their hearts warmed up, and they forgot all their troubles, and they were dancing and laughing happily. And when they got to the palace, the king was already waiting for them on the balcony. But there was no old king anymore. He was a young, handsome lad. "Oh, where is my bird? Give me my bird!" And then he looked at his daughter. "My dear daughter, will you marry now?" And the daughter looked at the lad, and the lad looked at the daughter, and they were smiling, and their hearts started beating much quicker, and they knew they would marry. "Yes, my father, I would marry now." And they hugged each other and kissed each other, and then they made a big wedding. Oh, what a wedding it was! It lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. There were 77 kinds of cakes. Even the cats drank coffee with cream. And the dogs drank red wine. There was dancing for 7 days and 7 nights. I was there. I was dancing. And then I came back here to you, to tell you this story, and to tell you that yes, they lived happily ever after. This was my story. Every word was true. Thank you for listening.